You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast for a two-part cricketing extravaganza. We've got pre-third Ashes Test news. England have made some changes. Australia, we don't know yet. Probably they'll make one quite big one. And in the second part, we'll be talking about the IPL mini auction that takes place tomorrow. It is cricket in Christmas. It's cricket in Christmas. I'm Jack Hope. I'm celebrating cricket in Christmas with Ross Legg and shortly Max Rowe Brown. How are you doing though? In the meantime, Ross Legg.
Yeah, I always like the build up to the IPL mini auctions because logic kind of goes out the window typically, and just chaos reigns. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing which team absolutely shoots themselves in the kneecaps. Whilst the Ashes, there's some big things that are happening. It's all on the line, isn't it, Jack? Otherwise, England are going to be home and hosed.
It is. I mean, like we know in the Ashes, you're saying we don't know which IPL team's going to make a big mistake. We know in the Ashes which team is going to make a big mistake and shoot us in the foot. So there's less. There's an unknown quantity there. We're not watching that going, oh, what might happen next in a sense. But
when's the wheels going to fall off? Who's going to shit the bed? Yeah.
Exactly, a when and a who. It's a different kind of drama. We'll be talking about all that. We're going to react to England's team news, speculate on what Australia will do, as I said, maybe make some predictions. Everyone's saying, and I can't believe this, everyone's saying that this is England's big chance to win. This is the venue that will suit England best. So I thought that was Perth, and then I thought it was the day night. You can't just keep saying it. Only one of them can actually be the best. We'll be discussing whether that is the case. Then in part two, do stick around if you're one of the Ashes people. And we've got some good stuff to say about the IPL auction. We'll be talking about, we'll be naming which player would be the best pickup for each IPL franchise, speculating on who will go for the biggest bucks, and maybe, if we've got time, speculating on who will be the surprise unsold player or players as well. Before we get to any of that, though, just a reminder to click like and subscribe on whichever platform you are listening or watching on. We are within 30 reviews on Spotify of Shane Warne's 708. So if you haven't yet reviewed us on Spotify, or your friends haven't, what a great idea that would be. Tell your friends about the Cricket Podcast. With the proviso that they must leave a review because we want to catch Shane Warne, so that there is some redeeming thing, some redeeming aspect to this rapidly disintegrating Ashes tour from an England perspective. Ross, England, they have shuffled the deck. And by deck, I mean deck beds. And the deck in question is, of course, the deck of the Titanic. What have they done?
Well, there's big change. They have not chosen Shoaib Bashir, so the 3-year project has been all for nothing, really. Will Jacks retains his place in at 8, and Josh Tongue has come into the 11, which is for Gus Atkinson, which is, I think Gus has, I think he's bowled reasonably well. Been a bit unlucky, a bit unfortunate to get wickets. There we go.
Okay, it's like Ross has suddenly left his home in South London and decided to report his fuss from a weather station somewhere in the Antarctic Circle. Luckily, Max has joined us. It's the news is basically tongue in, Atkinson out. Ross, you might want to leave and rejoin, see if that gets your line going a little bit better. Max, that's obviously a disappointment from a Surrey perspective.
My internet terrible again, for goodness sake.
Yeah, you don't have to say that. Just leave. Great start to a podcast. Look, Max, the big news, as I said, is obviously Tongue in, Atkinson out. You must be sad from a Surrey perspective. It also runs counter to all of our expectations and all of our guesses about what England might do to steady the ship, as it were. And we were talking, I think, last Thursday, and you speculated that Matt Potts might come in for Cast to provide a little bit more control. No, England have decided they're going to promote Cast. He's now.
Well, no, I mean, I thought that was what I would have done, but maybe not necessarily what I expected England to do.
The other kind of big news is the man that isn't into the team. I speculated that Shoaib Bashir would be in the 11, and England might play around possibly with even moving Jax up the order for Ollie Pope, but no, Jax is preferred as the primary spinner. What are your reaction to those two things, or your reactions? It could be the same reaction, it could be different reactions.
Yeah, well, I on the Atkinson one, I'm not surprised. I think that was sort of the suggestion of where things were going. They had to freshen it up. They had to do something. The bowling wasn't really working. It was all a bit one-dimensional, maybe a little bit easy for Australia. So I don't have a problem with them mixing it up. I feel a bit for Gus Atkinson. I think he's bowled okay without getting the rewards, whereas Bryden Cast has bowled quite badly but got more rewards. But that's the way she goes sometimes. But I mean, Gus Atkinson has had some injury problems during the year as well, hasn't he? So maybe not the worst thing to give him a break and see what Josh Tongue can offer in terms of the of an alternative. But yeah, I mean, obviously the big one is Bashir, isn't it? That's the big news, as Ross said, and in his stop motion way, the 3-year plan of bringing in Shoaib Bashir seems to it seems like tacit admission that it was a terrible idea. Picking a guy off an Instagram clip of bowling one ball at Alistair Cook, which who'd have seen that coming? I don't know. Yeah. But it is. I mean, I do feel for him, Shoaib Bashir, because he was parachuted in off the back of having a high release point, getting a bit of bounce. Went to India, didn't do a bad job. Played against the West Indies with England, did a good job. And it had that broken finger and was out for a little while and hasn't really come back from that. Now without a county. ECB were like forcing moves for him to get some cricket in the summer, which never really materialised in the county championship. And now he's been taken on a jolly to Australia. So I suppose on the positive side for Shoaib Bashir, he's got a month-long holiday to enjoy and watch some cricket. But I feel for him because it's not necessarily his fault, the position he's been put in, but equally, it's England's. It's a mistake of England's doing, isn't it? That's the thing. And now we've ended up in a situation where we have a batting all rounder as the main spinner who did a decent job in Brisbane, but it's England have backed themselves into a little corner, I think, in the spinner front, and it could be a problem, especially from what I'm hearing out of Nathan Lyon's mouth on the state of the pitch. But that's to be seen.
Well, look, Nathan Lyon's got his own problems to worry about, hasn't he? He really needs to talk up how much that pitch is going to spin, otherwise maybe he won't play. I've got a little bit of sympathy for everyone involved in this. I've got mostly sympathy for Shoaib Bashir, who's kind of been stood up for the big date. On the other hand, I totally understand why England have decided to make the decision that they have. Like, if you combine they're looking at this team and they're probably thinking the main way we're going to get wickets is from seam bowling. We want to make a change to the seam bowling. We don't think Atkinson's going to take wickets for whatever reason. I think he's actually bowled pretty well. I think Cast is England's top wicket taker, isn't he? But has bowled some quite poor spells, so I'd have maybe looked to make a change there personally. But they've decided to go with leaving Atkinson out. Josh Tongue can't really bat. England in general have struggled with the whole concept of that on this tour so far. Do they want to be in a situation where Archer goes from 11 to 9? 8. Yeah, and Cast is at 8. Maybe they're a little bit nervous of that, and that's playing into it as well. The other thing that you do need to bear in mind here is that Shoaib Bashir averages 40 in Test cricket, and that's dragging down
outside of it.
Yeah, that's dragging down his first-class record overall. And this is, speaking specifically about Test cricket here, probably the best period of time in more or less living memory to be a spin bowler in international cricket. His record is mitigated slightly by the fact that he's been playing in England, right? Or he plays half his tests in England. And the fact that he's had a couple of tricky-ish tours, I think, to Pakistan during that time period as well, where wickets were quite hard to come by, or in at least some of
the fans
tests.
out, yeah.
At least in some of those tests. But the reality is, we're not talking about a guy here who's averaging 25, and England have made some sort of inexplicable decision here. It's a pretty marginal call to pick him in the first place. Now, the bigger picture question is, should they maybe have invested that time in somebody else? And that's arguably true. But it's not like England have got loads of options there. I've said a bunch of times, I think Jack Leach is probably England's best spinner. Is Jack Leach the difference between a great bowling attack and a pretty average bowling attack? No, he isn't. He's just another average bowler that they could use. So, yeah, when all said and done, that particular question, I'm not. I don't want to sit on the fence, but like I'm not convinced there's loads in it. Instinctively, Max, I'd probably err on the side of picking Bashir if they think he is a better bowler than Jax. I think you want to pick your best bowling attack, and if they believe that Shoaib Bashir is England's best spinner, then I think that is worth the risk of having Cars at number 8. I don't know if they've wobbled on that front.
I think it depends how marginal it is, doesn't it? If it's a marginal gain, then I think the marginal gain you get from having Shoaib Bashir bowling over Will Jacks would have to overcome quite a substantial potential difference with the bat. So I suppose that's where they're looking at it. But you're right. Like, England needs to take 20 wickets. But they also need to bat long enough to be in a position where they can take 20 wickets. So it's a bit of a, it's a double-edged sword for them. I'm like I said, I feel for Shoaib Bashir. I think it's England. They made the mistake in the first place of putting all their eggs into one basket, essentially, which was a pretty flimsy basket at the time. But I would applaud them, I suppose, for being bold enough not to pick him just because they have put all that effort into it. The whole sunk costs fallacy angle of it. I think it is a reasonably brave thing to do, to put your hands up and be like, right, well, yeah, no, we think we probably didn't make the right call here, so we're going to go with Will Jacks. The fact that it's Will Jacks is fairly mind-blowing in itself, just because it almost seemed like they had one spare bloke to take on the plane. They're like, who should we go with? I don't know, that guy. Yeah, which is, not Will Jacks is an excellent cricketer, but hasn't played a test in very odd, all very strange.
I think that is true. I think both of those things are true as well. Like, they even have taken a lot of flack, probably rightly so, for being quite inflexible in their plans. As soon as they show some flexibility, people are like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why haven't you picked the guy that you've been playing all this time, even if he doesn't have that great a record?" So they've made that decision, but then you have to zoom out again and be like, would you have been better off picking someone who realistically might contribute in the first place? I mean, Rayan Ahmed was injured a lot this summer. There is a little bit of a what if around him. Like, the difference between him and Will Jacks as a bowler, I would much rather have Rayan Ahmed, I think.
He'd probably be batting free as well.
and the difference between Rayan Ahmed and Will Jacks with the bat at number 8, that's pretty marginal as well. Will Jacks probably batted himself into this game. It's the reality. With
41
runs. Yeah. The on the other side, Max, we have Australia. What does your snout's nose tell you the Australians will get up to in the 24 hours or so before the next test match?
That's very rude, Jack. Calling my nose a snout. Yeah, well, the decision they have to make is about Khawaja, isn't it? Usman Khawaja has declared himself 100% fully fit. His back spasms are over. He's obviously stayed off the golf course for a fortnight, so he's ready to come in. And then Australia have a couple of questions. Number one, do you pick Khawaja? If the answer to that is yes, Do you open him and move Travis Head back down to 5, or do you slot Khawaja in the middle order, as has been suggested would be a possibility? I hope they do pick Khawaja, and I hope they bat him at 5, because I think that is England's best opportunity of getting a result. I personally wouldn't pick him. I think I'd just stick with Travis Head at the top of the order, and I would keep Bo Webster or Josh Inglis in there. I think I would be, as an English player, more concerned about facing them than Khawaja. But if you are going to pick Khawaja, which is like a perfectly reasonable thing to do because he is like the incumbent opener, then I would open with him and I'd put Travis Head at 5, because I'd be more scared of Travis Head at 5 with a slightly tired England bowling attack and a soft ball than having the opportunity of nicking him out early when the ball might actually do something and saving themselves a whole lot of pain. So yeah, that's my personal view. I actually don't really know which way they're going to go. There was supposedly Travis Head was facing up to a shiny new ball from Scott Boland in training in the last couple of days, so that suggests that they're leaning towards Head opening, but doesn't tell you whether or not Khawaja will be in the side. So yeah, I think I'd like to see Khawaja in the side from an England perspective. We did say it was a wombat, didn't we?
Yeah, look, I mean, if you want the series to be close, I think you have to pray for Khawaja. I don't know. I find the Australian selectors quite hard to read. They obviously have like their main guys that they want to pick all the time. And Khawaja was in that camp like a month ago.
Yeah.
But it seems like once you're out that camp, they don't care at all. They're completely ruthless. Like it's you as soon as you're sort of off the list, that's it, you're gone. Or you're at least gone for an extended period of time. I think therefore a little bit surprised if they chopped and changed and brought him back in. I think the two openers that they had in the last test have done enough between them, haven't they? In the two tests so far to you know, rightly claim that they deserve to keep their places. And I think that is the best combination that Australia have. I think from a batting perspective, I don't really see whether they need to change things. I think like the English for one test and then out as well would seem to me like an odd thing to do. I know he didn't bat that well.
He's got to stay in there just for that run out.
But yeah, like he fielded well, contributed, didn't he? I think it's more interesting from the Australia perspective, really, on the bowling side. I mean, Cummins is fit. We assume Nathan Lyon's going to come back in.
Yeah.
And it's not really from a selection point of view. Like obviously, Doggett and Nisa are the two guys that they should drop. But emotionally, I still do think it's quite. Again, it demonstrates the kind of cold-heartedness of the Australian. Michael Nisa isn't one of the guys, right? Never has been, never will be. So he's gone. That's probably what's going to happen. Then you get this Australian side shaping up with Cummins and Stark and Lyon, so 3 of the big 4, plus Boland, who's sort of like
4 of the big 5.
Yeah, he's like the 5th Beatle, isn't he? At least in recent years, in the last 5 years. And it all starts to look pretty nervy from an England point of view, doesn't it, Max?
It does. If you're going to try and look on the positives, try and find some routes to victory for England, I think your options are A, Stark's 3 tests in a row and can't maintain the elite level that he's attained so far. Number 2, Cummins hasn't played a game since July, so he'll be crap. And Nathan Lyon's going to try way too hard to prove himself and also be crap. And England are going to win at a canter. That's the dream from an England perspective. The reality from an England perspective is it's going to be really tough.
Right. Look, so
they don't improve things.
There have been a few quotes from the England team. Harry Brooker said they're going to rein it in. Ben Stokes has asked the team to show a bit of dog. And a lot of journalists I've seen have been saying that this venue suits England the best. This is England's best chance on the tour. As I said in the beginning of the show, they said that about Perth, and a few people said that about the day-night test as well. Everyone was saying it when Cummins wasn't in the team. Everyone said it again when Hazelwood was ruled out. But is it? And we'll ask Ross, who has finally rejoined us from his polar station. We'll ask Ross, is this actually England's best chance? Is this officially the best chance?
No, it's not. Clearly is the first test match was the best one. This is not England's best chance. We're still down. Australia know how to beat. Just
Well,
kick me out
it
of the
was good to
podcast.
have you,
Just
Ross.
kick me out.
He's this is worse than the time that I forgot to charge my Wi-Fi. Ross, he lives in the biggest city in Europe, and can't get Wi-Fi. That's broken Britain. That is broken Britain. That's why everything's going wrong, isn't it? Like this whole country. I mean, the cricket team is just emblematic of how things are on this island. And Ross's Wi-Fi doing a good impression of the cricket team there. Max, your chance to answer the question: is this England's best chance?
No, I don't think so. The boat sailed on that one. 2 games without Hazelwood and Cummins. A day-nighter, which I suppose England are particularly bad at day-nighters, so maybe that wasn't a great shot. But the first test, there was pace, there was bounce. England had their first choice bowling attack. They were all fit briefly. They were all looking good. England got themselves into a good position and they threw it away. They had an opportunity to do something good in the first test, and they missed the opportunity. The second. Why is this game better for England? I don't really understand it. I mean, England have won there in the past, so maybe that's it, but not since 2010. So it's it seems curious to me. I think clutching at straws. Maybe are they saying it from the perspective of they've had a chance to get everything wrong out of their system, and this is where England start getting good again. I don't see necessarily that there's anything about the conditions that will make it particularly helpful. I think I was reading something from the groundsman who's saying that they've changed back to the old grass at the Adelaide Oval because previously, the last 2 tests where the ball was doing all sorts, they had a drop-in pitch and they had some different kind of grass and it went haywire, and now they've gone back to the old tried and tested stuff. And they're going to put out a good old-fashioned cricket wicket, which will go to 5 days and end up with spin coming into the game. That's what I'm hearing. If that's what we get, England are stuffed. Really, aren't they?
But doesn't that imply it was a little bit flatter?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but if spin becomes a major part of it, then Will Jacks versus Nathan Lyon. It's not a fair fight, is it?
There is a deficit there.
But no, you are right. If it is a bit flatter, then that does give England a bit more not license, but a bit more leeway with the way they play to put on a big score. But it was flat as hell at Brisbane, as long as it wasn't a half an hour or to an hour under the lights during some of that game, and it didn't really help, did it? So I'm not confident. No. I think this is. I similarly agree. I wouldn't say there was anything particularly notable about the Adelaide Oval that suggests to me that we should expect England to run rampant all of a sudden. And actually, I called the Oval, so maybe they'll feel at home.
Like traditionally, the last 2 tests are where England somehow burgle a draw or a redeeming win. If you look over Ashes series, traditionally it rains a little bit in Sydney and takes enough time out of the match for someone to block out, or they get the drop-in pitch wrong at the Melbourne ground, and it's literally impossible for anyone on either team to take wickets, and it becomes 600 aside, and that's how England get out of the 5-0. It's not Adelaide. Like the only time you win at Adelaide is if you win the series. They're not going to do that, are they?
Well, yeah, pretty much.
It's a tall tale. It's a tall tale. Look, I think that's most of the stuff on the Ashes. Ross has now joined us by phone from his Arctic bunker. Did you have anything at all you would like to say about the 3rd Ashes test? This is going to be really confusing for people on podcasts because at the beginning of the show, we didn't introduce Max. I've been speaking to him for 25 minutes. And you're going to come through on a completely different microphone setup and sound totally different now. If you're on YouTube, this is just he's been popping up and disappearing. We've had all sorts of Christmas decorations and all sorts. Ross,
500
go on.
episodes of the Cricket Podcast on my internet is still like this. It's embarrassing. No, I don't. You answered the question before, Jack, around if this was England's best chance of winning. I just don't think it is. Like
You're now mute.
He's muted himself. That is it's an astonishing piece of analysis.
I don't know if your headphones are disconnected or like.
As Ross has delivered there, like there's some sort of
That is the coup de
has gone
grace.
down.
That is the coup de grace.
Bluetooth has gone down in the Arctic Circle. I tell you what, this is gonna be a difficult podcast to edit together. If you're watching the live stream,
I've got.
Hopefully, it's just funny.
I've got to recover from this for Australian.
is this? Is it working now?
Hey,
yeah, go on. Please tell us your views,
my goodness. You know what? England are going to get battered. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey.
Right. Look. On that note, I think we'll wrap up the Ashes half of the episode. Do stick with us for some IPL talk. You will, no doubt, see a bunch of headlines about this throughout tomorrow. So you might as well understand what's going on, right? And we are here to provide that understanding when our internet works. Back in a moment.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cricket Podcast, where we're here to talk about the IPL mini auction, which is, well, obviously a step down from a mega auction. People who don't know what that means, basically you have IPL, and I'm going to go through this, assuming that some people are here from the test world, maybe dipping their toes into the IPL auction system for the first time. Basically, you have auction cycles in the IPL. Every few years, everyone has to release more or less their whole team. There's a big bonanza. It lasts about 3 days. Teams construct a squad, and then in the intervening years, you can cut a few players and try and pick up a few players. And we're at that stage in the cycle. Teams are doing a little bit of a rebuild, but it's not the sort of full-on frenzy where there's loads and loads of talent available. That means if you're one of the lucky players who was cut or became good during the cycle, or was injured for the previous auction and is now available, you could stand to earn a lot of money. And if you're sort of browsing ESPN Cricket Info at the moment, you might have seen a lot of articles about Cameron Green and how rich he is about to be. We'll be making a prediction on that. And that's that kind of dynamic at play. What we will do here is talk through all 10 teams in the IPL to give you a little flavour of what they might be looking for. It won't be it won't be super, super detailed. We did like a review of retentions and trades and all of that business about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So if you want a little bit more detail, that was about an hour long episode where we go into each team in loads of depth. Go and seek out that episode. It's exactly the same stuff as you'll hear now. For this episode, what we're going to do, talk about each franchise and pick a name, a player name that we think that franchise would particularly benefit from, to strengthen them for the 2026 season. We'll also have a little look at who we think collectively the most expensive player will be. I've trailed that with Cameron Green. Yeah, I've trailed it with Cameron Green, but we're going to have 2 guesses each, and the winner gets, get some assigned thoughts and prayers from me, and we might talk about who could potentially go unsold. We'll kick off, Max, after I say to people quickly, remember to click like and subscribe, with Chennai Super Kings. Talk to me, introduce this new concept. Which name do they need?
Yes, well, CSK, the big news that they, from CSK in the release period of the IPL cycle was that they did a big old trade with Rajasthan Royals. They took on Sanju Samson, and the other direction went Ravi Jadeja and Sam Curran. And what that means is they've got a bit of a hole for an all-rounder. And they could go with an overseas one as well, a highly priced overseas all-rounder, if you will, because they have a little bit of money to spend. So I fully expect that CSK will be going all in for Cameron Green, as mentioned. They may well not get him, though, because there are other teams, looking at you, KKR, who've got more money and will probably spend their entire purse on just the one guy. But yeah, Cameron Green is a guy that would fit into that gap that CSK have got. But I don't think they will actually get him. So they may have to look elsewhere. Are we allowed to say what that is, or are we just restricted to one name? What's the game?
You have to go for one name. It's a prediction about a name. You've mentioned a name.
They're going for Cam
Green. Not going to get him.
They're going for Cam Green. They're not going to get him.
Well, you've completely torpedoed the whole point of this segment. Who are they going to get? That's the prediction. You have to throw out a new name. Liam Livingston. Okay, so Liam Livingston to CSK. You've heard that from Max Rowe Brown first. He's given you the reasons. That gives you a flavour for Chennai Super Kings. We'll now go to Ross on his telephone. Rajasthan Royals.
I'm coming in from Greenland on the 324. Can you hear me over?
Tyne and dog out.
But maybe I'll do well on the shipping forecast. Maybe that's my future. So Rajasthan Royals, they've got a relatively measly purse of only 16 crore. They've got 9 slots to fill with 1 overseas. I think that they are in the market for Ravi
Bishnoi.
I mean, you could not make this up. We don't know. It's Ravi Bishnoi is who he's saying, because there's only one Ravi that he could possibly say there. But it does sound like Ross has been taken down. The Greenland station is out of commission. I can talk about Mumbai Indians. They're really easy to do. They've got about 2.7 crore. That's basically no money. They don't have that many spaces to fill. Their team is pretty good already. They've got nothing to panic about. I'm not even going to throw a name out. I'm going to say they're going to buy a random overseas player, Max, and they will probably be from Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka.
So that's
Kusal Mendes.
Kusal Mendes, yeah, sure. Kusal Mendes to Mumbai Indians. Who are you going to go to next?
I had Delhi Capitals.
Delhi Capitals, yeah.
So let's go with Delhi Capitals. So they, what they did is they released Faf du Plessis and Jake Fraser-McGurk, who were basically opening the batting for them. That means it's fairly likely that we'll see KL Rahul moving to the top of the order, but there's a big gap for them to fill in terms of a companion. And to be fair, I mean, I've heard words that they would probably want a wicketkeeper batter as well, which I find a bit odd because King Legend can keep and they've got Abhishek Parel who can also keep. But if we are going down the realms, if they want a wicketkeeper batter, then I reckon they will probably go in. I think they'll probably go in heavily for Jamie Smith. And, there's been rumours that he's going to be quite popular on the circuit. Not got any IPL experience really, but has done well in the 100 and has a really good record opening up and getting struck with a high strike rate at the start of innings. So, I think he would fit nicely.
We're going to try Ross one more time. Sunrisers Hyderabad, Ross. Who are they going to pick up?
I think Venki Iyer is going to go to Sunrisers. And I think it will give them the capability to push a few people down in the order. You had Klaassen kind of floating in the middle order last year, and unfortunately it didn't quite work out for them due to the inconsistency of his performance. So I think they can probably look to bring in Venki Iyer and an Indian pacer as well.
Interesting. I thought you'd have gone for an Indian pacer first there. Obviously they got rid of Shami, but Venki Iyer. Curious. Let's do RCB.
Yeah, big name.
Big name. RCB are a big name. That's why we shorten it to RCB, because Royal Challengers Bengaluru is frankly a ridiculous name for a sports team. Is there any other sports team, as a little diversion, is there any other sports team with a more preposterous name than Royal Challengers Bengaluru?
Even None comes to the top of my head. No.
Yeah, no, it's a completely stupid name. But RCB does work. That does roll off the tongue. So, they got that part of the branding right. It's kind of hard to say with RCB because they probably don't have enough money to do some of the work they want to do. And the thing that they probably need, maybe like another Indian batter, possibly an Indian seamer as well, doesn't really exist. So they've got no money. There isn't a quantity of the thing that they want to go out and get. So I've gone a little bit rogue here. I think they'll go for Matt Henry. I think they'll be looking for backup for Josh Hazelwood. And if making a prediction about who will end up there, I think Matt Henry projects as sort of a roughly decent backup for Josh Hazelwood. He's got, obviously, Hazelwood's got 2 injuries, the hamstring that ruled him out of 2 tests, and then the other mystery injury that has ruled him out of the other 3. He'll probably be back for the IPL. Traditionally, he does pull that off. But there'll be a little bit of worry there. I reckon they'll have a stab at Bishnoi too. We were speaking about him a little bit earlier. I reckon they'll have a stab at Bishnoi, but I don't think they'll have the firepower to actually follow through and pick him up. So that's RCB. Prediction done. Max, over to you for the Gujarat Titans. This is good. We should do all our stuff like this. The podcast would be half as long.
Yeah,
Similar
to RCB in the sense they don't have a huge amount to spend. Also had a pretty good season last year, so they don't need a whole lot to do. But they did trade away Shafane Rutherford to MI, so there's a gap in the batting in the middle order. And it was, if there was one weakness that Gujarat had last year, it was that their top 3 were immense, and then it kind of fell off a bit of a cliff immediately afterwards. And asking those 3 to repeat what they did last year is a bit of a tall ask because they were exceptionally good. So they're probably going to need a bit more ballast. There's again quite a few names in the throes of middle order batters that they could go with, but I'm throwing a curveball out there for this one. What I think would be really fun, if maybe completely insane and not a very good idea, would if they went for Jake Fraser McGurk and got him to open the batting and then shifted the top 3 down one, because basically it's a free hit. You're just playing a joker. Like, he can go out first ball, then you've just got your 3 openers doing what they did last year. Or if it comes off, you're laughing. So
you don't really understand the concept of predictions, do you? Like, that's not a thing that's in your wheelhouse.
No. But I just wanted to get it out there as an idea because I thought it was fun.
But it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
It?
But I like it as an idea.
Okay. What is your actual prediction?
I think they're probably going to be one of the teams that go for like one of the uncapped Indian middle order players as a couple that are knocking around. There's a wicketkeeper, and I'm trying to flick through the names of the people to get to him, and I've missed out. So I'm going to say Jordan Cox instead. He'd go well.
Okay.
I think he'd fit in the middle because they've got Glenn Phillips, but for some reason they just don't play Glenn Phillips in that role. And yeah, Jordan Cox is like a nice sort of change of pace after those 3 fall out. He's been pretty good. So yeah, nice cheap Jordan Cox. I think he'd fit nicely.
Nice cheap Jordan. Will Jordan Cox be cheap though? That's the question. Roth leg. Punjab Kings finalists last year.
Punjab Kings.
The People's Team.
Yep. The People's Team, the Comedy Kings. Ricky Ponting's not even going to the auction. He's got that little in the purse. He does not care. He is just turning up with the team. They've got 4 slots to fill, 2 overseas. I think that there's an Aussie love fest at Punjab Kings, isn't there? That's what always happens. Josh Inglis is being left out because he's not available for all of the IPL, so they've dropped him, released him. Glenn Maxwell retired, so they've got a Cooper Connolly space hole in the team. I reckon Cooper Connolly will end up at Punjab Kings. So, and I think that this could. I know we didn't say 2 names, but this has got Johnny Bairstow written all over it as well. By the way,
I think there's a chance that Bairstow ends up getting another go. There's a few like.
What did it happen?
Old
he did a good job.
I saw people saying that Bairstow should be in the Ashes team. They should go and recall Bairstow for the Ashes team.
What?
to keep?
I think that was the idea.
Probably actually.
Like bring back. Smith hasn't got any runs for 3 tests. Let's get rid of him. Bring back the guy who famously sometimes go 3 years without getting any runs. Like it's
But perhaps it's been 3 years, and they're just like, he's due one,
and can no longer move to his left.
yeah. Okay, yeah, no, I can see Bairstow to Punjab. I can definitely see that. Right, a couple more teams to go. Lucknow Super Giants and the Kolkata Knight Riders. Lucknow, let's start with them. The most boring team in the IPL. So I'm going to talk about them in a very boring voice. Assuming that they've gone all in on Digvesh as their spinner, then the big thing missing is a batter who can really punish teams at the death. I think there's a high likelihood, therefore, that the Lucknow Super Giants will go for Liam Livingston.
Yeah.
That sound fair? Let's say Liam
agree.
Livingston has got Lucknow written all over him. He'll get no runs. It'll be his last kick in the IPL. They'll pay a fucking load of money for him. Fair play, though. You know, he's turned up.
Voice
put his
acting
name in the
was
hat.
also quite good.
Or,
I quite like that change up in the podcast. I very much
or
like it.
Deepak Huda goes home. That's the other possibility.
Deepak Huda. Ooh, that could happen. Yeah, maybe both of them.
I don't think
Huda
anyone's ever
Livingston.
said the term "ooh" after Deepak Huda before. By the way, no one gets excited by that.
Deepak
Why-
Huda.
Well, how boring could they make their team? What would be the most boring player they could pick? Who
Rao
was up there?
Tripathi.
Raul Tripathi. Yeah.
Mayank
Again,
Agarwal's in the
Shivan
auction as well.
Yeah. There's a place for all of those players.
Vijay Shankar.
Yeah.
Tell you who isn't boring. And maybe I should do this bit in a really exciting voice. The most interesting team in the auction, the Kolkata Knight Riders. They really need a top order attacking batter who can ideally wicketkeeper, and they probably also need an overseas seamer. Now, because they have 64 crore to spend,
Don't they need
the most
everyone?
for any team, I'm going to do two names.
Yeah, fair.
I think at 3 names. Let's have 3 names. Fuck them.
Mm.
Jordan Cox, I think, there's a decent chance he ends up at the Kolkata Knight Riders. There's room for him. Cameron Green, I think they might buy him. They've got rid of Dre Russ. Are Cameron Green and Andre Russell in any way comparable? Not really.
Both quite tall.
But they're both quite tall. They both technically list themselves as all rounders.
No, Cameron Green's in as a batter. Because of
is
an
it? Okay.
IPL administrative mistake.
So I think there's a good chance I get Cameron Green, and I've put 4 names down, but Kolkata are the fun team, so we can talk about them for a little bit longer. Patarana, who's released from CSK, I think this is a team that could do with an overseas seamer, and I think rolling the dice on that kind of player is exactly the sort of thing that a team named after a car would do. And Venkatesh Iyer, he was in the team for 23 crore. They've got rid of him. I reckon they might buy him back for somewhere in the 8 crore range. You discuss those points. They're all up for debate. Which name would you say from those 4, Ross, is most likely?
I think Cam Green's written all over it. I think it'd also look good in purple and gold. I think that would suit him as a person, as a player. So I think KKR fans can get quite excited about that. You're right, he's not exactly like Dre Russ, but ultimately nobody is like Dre Russ. So it's not going to be a bad thing. So you've still got somebody who could potentially bowl you 3 or 4 overs a game, and you've got someone who can bat anywhere in the top 6. Really, you probably don't really want him as a finisher, and he got a good record in the IPL as well. So I think it'll be a deserving kind of pickup, and he's going to be expensive. What does frustrate me, Jack, and I'm not sure if you've talked about it on the podcast yet because of my terrible internet, is the new IPL rule where overseas players are capped at 18 crore in terms of what they get paid. So if Cameron Green goes for 25 crore, which it's not unlikely, it could happen, he will only get paid 18 crore. The rest goes, do you want to have a guess? It goes to the BCCI.
It's a perfect system if you are the BCCI. I think it's like an interesting thing there. Like I know this is the direction that you wanted the podcast to go in necessarily, but that is, I think, quite poor administration from an attractiveness perspective, from a player talent attractiveness perspective. Like we've seen in England, the PCA, the Players Union, have told teams not to sign up for 100 franchises because they think effectively, that they haven't outright said this, but the reason they would be saying this is because they think there's likely to be some collusion between owners, and that what's likely to happen is that players overall end up getting paid less, or it ends up being a little bit underhand. So they've asked players not to engage in that process until the actual system for working out who gets paid what and so on has been formalized properly and fairly. That doesn't really exist in the IPL, so wacky stuff like this happens. It does make it unattractive. Like, that is a fact for players. Here's another thing: IPL's brand value has fallen in the last year by quite a lot, by I think more than 20%. Now, there are reasons for this that aren't specific to the that talent question. Specifically here, gambling. There's a gambling crackdown, an online gambling crackdown happening in India, particularly around the sort of fantasy games that were popular, and that market's more or less gone.
The IPL for the last.
Yes,
exactly. That's sponsored the IPL.
Dream 11.
And the TV rights sector as well. You effectively have a monopoly now operating there, and
they don't make any content really readily available, right? And anyone who tries to do any content, like any other sport, gets to immediately taken down and banished from the web. Yeah,
because they're bidding against nobody, are in a position to significantly drive down the price of cricket. Without getting into it in loads of detail, all of the TV companies, politicians, BCCI, IPL franchise owners, they're all enmeshed together in what is a pretty shabbily run operation from a cricketing perspective. And well, yeah, I'll just say it. What is basically outright robbery from probably Cam Green's pocket here.
Yep,
is a situation that should be called out. It is ridiculous. Back to you though, Max. Which of the four players I said do you think's most likely to go to KKR?
I also agree that it will be Cameron Green, because he's up third. It's going to be a big old bidding war between CSK and KKR, and basically the KKR are the big chip bullies, right? So they can just pay as much as they like. And I think they will do that. I think CSK will probably blink first. And I actually think that CSK might then end up getting Venki Iyer and overpaying a little bit for him. But I think he could kind of work at the Jaipur, because he's a similar kind of, Shivam Dubey kind of long levers spin hitter. But yeah, that's what I reckon.
All I can say about Venki Iyer is I really understand why he had to go and finish his accountancy course, because he's there's not a long career in this. He got an unbelievable power. He could not believe what's happened, but this is a cricketer who's had his time.
Should we move on to who we think the most highly paid player will be? So we'll do the top six. That gives us two guesses each. So the aim of this game is to guess at first the sixth most expensive player. If you get it right, you get 5 points. If you get it wrong, you lose 5 points. And then at the end of the auction, the winner gets a free biryani at the Christmas curry, which you have to eat the whole of by yourself. We'll start with you, Ross, because you're furthest right on the screen, and your internet's working at the moment, so we kind of need you to go while the
strike while the iron's hot.
That's the phrase. That's exactly the phrase. Let's hear.
So I think Patarana will be the sixth most expensive player in there. I think there'll be a few ahead of him, but I think Patarana around that 5, 6, 7 mark is going to be in that mix. What I haven't factored into my my calculations is the recency bias of the India versus South Africa tour. Normally there's an added price on there, but Patarana is going to be my guess.
Paterano, that's an interesting call. Overseas seam bowler, IPL pedigree to some degree. Blows a bit hot and cold. Quite a fun player, isn't he? I would say quite fun. We'll go to you next, Max. We've also had some suggestions in the chat that maybe we upgrade this to a Vindaloo for the winner, which will probably suit Max because he never wins prediction games, doesn't understand what prediction is as established. Who do you predict will be the 5th most expensive player? And I want a price as well. We didn't get Ross to name a price.
Oh, a price. That's hard.
A price. I want a price. You get an extra 5 points if you get the price right.
Are we letting Ross go with the price, or am I going?
No, you're going to go.
It feels like I should get a go at my price though. If there's 5 points on the line.
Okay, all right. Well, have you go.
No, Max goes for it next.
Right. Yeah. Well, number 5, Ollie. We'll go with Prithvi Shaw. No,
What?
I'm joking. I'm going to go with Jamie Smith as 5th.
Jamie Smith? No way.
And I think 7 crore.
Prithvi Shaw is a better guess.
I don't think it is.
Well, you're right. It is.
I think he's going
That's
unsold.
still Jamie Smith. That's. I feel like I don't know about you, Ross. I feel like it's a bit of a long shot that Jamie Smith cracks the top 6.
Yeah, I do, and I also think that 7 crore is quite low for 6th place, for 5th place. So I was going to say about 11 or 12 crore for Paterana. That's what I was thinking the 6th place is going to be, but maybe I've not done the math.
No, I'm thinking like of a massive skew towards Cameron Green, which sort of takes equity away from everyone else, and then it comes a bit of a bum fight.
But you don't lose the money if you come 2nd in the bid. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, quite well.
So there's 230 crore on the table, and you think I don't know what 170 of that is going to go to the top 4.
Well, no, there's quite a lot.
I'm thinking like
spaces that to go around, you know.
Yeah.
I may have misstepped here, but I've said what I've said. It's over. Let's move on.
That's his guess. That's his guess. So I'm going to say Paterana between 12 and 13 crore in 6th place. Max is going for Jamie Smith at 7 crore at 5th place.
Okay. Right. There's a list of players here that I think will be tricky. I'm going to go for an Indian player. I think there will be a bit of a bidding war for Ravi Bishnoi. And I think that Bishnoi will go for 14 crore, 14.5 crore. I think it'll be something like that. I think there'll be a few teams in there that have really no hope of actually getting him. That will get the fire started. I think SRH.
That's also what you want, isn't it? That's what you really want. You want people to be coming in like the Delhi guy, just to paddle up every time.
Yeah, I think there'll be one of the teams that I don't think he'll go to KKR. I think they might be interested a little bit, but I don't think he will go there because I think they obviously have some.
They don't need him, right?
Yeah, I know, but they can bid for him, can't they? Like they're going to bid for everyone.
Sunrisers, I reckon, is where Bishnoi ends up. I reckon.
Yeah. And I think Sunrisers will not price him out, but like show enough interest. So maybe 14 crores higher. I don't know. Who knows? Ross, back to you for the 3rd most expensive player at the IPL auction.
I'm also going to stay Indian. I think that Venki Iyer will end up getting a bigger payday than he deserves. You know, I reckon he's coming in at 15 to 16 crore.
15 to 16 crore on Venki Iyer. That seems reasonable. Not making any waves. Max, we've got the top 2 to deal with between us. Who do you reckon it's going to be?
Liam Livingston, 19.5 crore.
Oh, that would be a hell of a payday. That would be a hell of a payday. There's some big names missing out then. Like I've got the whole board to play with now. We all know I'm going to go for Cameron Green. We all know that Cameron Green is who I will pick here. Steve Smith. There could be a massive bidding war for Steve Smith. He always hopes there will be. Jordan Cox. Mentioned him a little bit earlier in the pod. Had a pretty decent year in T20 cricket. Rachin Ravindra, he was flavour of the month at one point. We're not projecting him to be in the top 6. Hasaranga, who knows what you're going to get with Hasaranga? I can see why he wouldn't be in the top 6, but I imagine that there'll be some money splashed out on him. I'm going to go Cameron Green. I'm going to say... I see the thing is here, who's going to bid with KKR to take this to 25 crore? That's the question I've got.
It's only really
That's
CSK,
the question.
isn't it?
Yeah. And what's CSK's like whole purse, Max? You are
43.4.
So it could go up though, couldn't it?
Yeah, they're 20 shy of KKR, but they've got quite a lot to play with because that's the thing. It's Jadeja and Sam Curran they've got rid of, and they're fairly chunky.
Yeah, and both of them are all rounders, so they're making it. They've signalled pretty clearly that they are going to want an all rounder here. I'm going to go. Yeah, look, I'm going to say Cameron Green. I'm going to say 26 crore.
That's
Nice.
big boy money. That is big.
I'm going to go big. Yeah, why not? It's not my money. Fuck it. 28 crore. New world record.
But sir, you've already won the auction. You're bidding against yourself.
Didn't the team do that last year? Didn't someone bid against themselves? I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm sure it's happened. People have bid for the wrong player.
Yeah.
Didn't Punjab accidentally end up with the player?
The wrong Shashank Singh, but actually ended up being the right one because he was quite good.
Yeah, or they claimed it was the right one, but it wasn't. Okay, right. Look, we've got about 3 minutes left before Max has to go and do Australian breakfast radio. Tune in to.
We hope, unless I get stood up like Ross did on 5 Live.
Don't blame we love the BBC. We're trying to get him back on. Don't call him out for. It wasn't. Look, Mo Salah.
Mohamed Salah is more interesting to be.
Mohamed Salah. There's probably more column inches written about Mohamed Salah doing an Instagram post than there have been about the whole of the Ashes so far.
Yeah,
like I would say. So it does make sense
that for the radio.
Do that. Yeah. Yeah, look, we don't even care that we're losing. Right? You ever heard this Mo Salah guy? Look, I want a name for everyone. The biggest name that will go unsold. Let's start with Ross. Who is the biggest name that will go unsold at the 2026 IPL auction? Can't say Steve Smith. He's off the docket.
Oh, okay. I think teams will look to avoid. I'm not sure. I was going to say Quinton de Kock, but I'm not so sure about that. People
just got 100 against India. Like, yeah, he just got 100 against India. There's no chance.
Immediately,
he's going.
He might well be the top 6 most expensive players.
Can I swap Jamie Smith?
I really don't know. Big names. I mean, Vijay Shankar is a big name, so.
Okay, I don't think that is a big name. I think you have to choose again there. Yeah, I need a new big name from you there, Ross. Vijay Shankar.
I really don't know. My mind has gone blank on these.
All right. Well, more valuable insight.
Starting on -5 points.
Yeah, starting on -5 points. Max, biggest name unsold.
Jonathan Bairstow.
Bairstow. Oh, yeah. Do you think Bairstow's a big name? I don't even know if Bairstow's a big name.
I think he's a big IPL name, isn't he? But I'll pick another one if you don't want me to. I'll go with Prithvi Shaw.
I want Prithvi Shaw. You can have a combination of Bairstow and Prithvi Shaw. I'm going to go Devon Conway.
Mm-hmm.
I think that teams will swerve Conway. I think I wouldn't be stunned if there was a big England player that didn't get picked up as well. Like I wouldn't be completely blown away if Jamie Smith wasn't bought. Gus Atkinson is in the auction. I'd actually be borderline surprised if someone picked up Gus Atkinson. I talked about Jordan Cox earlier. I do think someone will, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was quite cheap. Ross.
I was going to say my internet cut out when I was actually saying Onrik Norkia. I don't think he's going to be picked up.
Okay. Yeah, I can see Norkia.
Can you hear me? Is anybody out there listening?
You're back.
I can see Norkia maybe not going. Look, I think that's it for the IPL. Ross, we're going to have to put him out of his misery. This is the
Christmas
last
soon,
time you'll
Ross.
ever hear from Ross.
I knew
There's
computer.
there's a persistent rumor on AI that not only is Ross not a podcast member, he's been replaced by Chippy, but also that there's a running gag between Jack, Max, and Chippy about a dead horse called Ross Leg, and perhaps that was some sort of prescience, some sort of AI prophecy that we're going to have to kill the dead horse Ross. I don't know. It's a good way to end the podcast on the thought of a dead horse. Who's your favourite dead horse, Max? Go on, see us out.
Zippy Chippy.
Zippy Chippy. But thanks very much for listening and watching. You can find the Cricket Podcast all over the internet. Make sure you click like and subscribe. As I said, we're trying to chase down Shane Warne on Spotify. In terms of reviews, not in terms of wickets or anything else. We're on 680 subbing Spotify reviews. We want to get past 708 by the end of the Ashes. Help us do that. Tell a friend, spread the word. Hopefully, Max, I can edit the audio of this podcast together.
Good fucking luck, mate.
Sound like it was a rational and sane discussion. And if I've done that and you get to this point, why not head over to YouTube, see the carnage yourself?
Yeah, it's worth
Press subscribe. You can see the 19 different times Ross joined and then left this stream. Enjoy ABC Radio, Max. I've got a long night of podcast editing ahead of me. Goodbye.
it.